Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode in the Shadowlands Redemption realm. In the last episode we spent the first 25 days getting ourselves set up and ready to go out on an epic Minecraft adventure, and that included going out there and getting our initial tools and iron and food and surviving through the first 25 days, which was quite difficult considering how under protected we were in terms of armor and that kind of thing. And we ended up actually finding the place that we were going to set up our starter base, which is right next to an ocean monument, which later on in the series we're going to turn into our main base. Strap yourselves in, grab yourself a drink. This is episode 2. We're going to cover days 26 to 50. Really hope you enjoy the episode. If you do end up enjoying it, leave a like, why not subscribe? But for now, I'm just going to crack on with this episode. Hope you enjoy it. It had been quite a traumatic experience just getting to this point, so I ended day 25 with a little bit of calm, chilled out fishing. Managed to get myself a couple of fish and some other items. No enchanted books though, which was a bit of a shame. I then started gathering up some materials in order to start fleshing out the base a little bit more, and I decided that this wall of dirt here had to go. In fact, this entire mountain was going to go, but I was just going to do it one layer at a time to begin with. I didn't just want to build the standard square box, so instead I went with the old circular shape, and the idea here is that I'm going to build a platform and then have extended platforms coming off of it for various things that I need to build. Kind of like I did in my Skyblock series, but obviously if I fall off here, it's not really the end of the world, I'm just going to get wet. I started filling in the platform, but I ran out of resources, and when I got to the top of this tree I decided to admire my realm. As I was filling in the rest of the platform I made a stupid mistake and fell into the water. What I didn't know was that I wasn't alone. This trident guy was in the water with me and I just didn't realise. So obviously it didn't take long for him to end up throwing a trident at me and I ended up dead. Fortunately I was a clever boy and I set my spawn very close by, so I managed to just go and pick up all of my stuff and retreat safely. I finished off the platform quite quickly, that really didn't take long, and as I was planting some more seeds there was another death. If anyone's keeping count, let me know down in the comments. I set myself a little campfire to give myself some light and cook up all of the fish that I just caught so that I had some food source, and then I went about trying to idiot proof the base so that I wouldn't fall off into the edge and end up getting killed by a drowned again, because that wasn't fun last time. Just as I was sorting out a storage system I noticed that we had our first PvP kill, which definitely counts towards the tally, and then I spent some time just going about sorting out my inventory because I had 6 chests here that I could actually do a little bit of organising in and hopefully make myself that little bit more efficient. I put some signs up so that all visitors knew that they were welcome to enter my base, and of course then I went and did a little bit of shameless self-promotion. Subscribe by the way if you haven't already. On day 28 I tried to start a strip mine, but I very quickly encountered the same problem that I had previously. Massive bodies of water. I don't know what they are, where they come from, but there's no way to mine through them. But I wasn't about to go and move bases again because I found the area that I wanted to be in. So I just went a little bit further out and found myself another place to start a strip mine. What I found was a lava pit, which I thought might come in handy later, and then this cow committed suicide, so you know, that's sad. I spent the end of day 28 trying to figure out how I was going to get easy access to this particular cave system, so I tried digging up and digging a staircase all the way to the surface, but I very quickly came across a problem, and that was the fact that I was right next to the lava source that I'd looked at just previously. So as day 29 carried on, I blocked off that lava source, opened up the top of the mine a little bit more and waited for the lava to flow away so that I could carry on making my mine. I put some cobblestone stairs in place so that I didn't have to jump and waste all of my food, and then I started working my way down into the cave that I just found. At first it was quite grueling, but I did manage to poke through. I've tried to find a better way around, but actually I couldn't, so I ended up just bridging across this cave and then working my way down on the other side. My problem, however, was that I only had 1 torch left and I didn't have any more coal to make any more. So I went as far as I possibly could, and I did end up poking through and seeing into the cave, but then I had to go back and find myself some coal so that I could make myself some more torches, which I did. Here you can see me grabbing the coal, here you can see me making the torches, and that takes us quite nicely into day number 30. There was another death to kick the day off with, so yeah, that's sad. And then a zombie tried to kill me, but I managed to retreat to a safe distance and then take it out like a professional. He actually did quite a bit of damage to me. I was worried that I was going to die at one point, but I think I made it through okay. And then this creeper decided to get involved and he ended up blowing up half my bridge, but that was alright because it wasn't too bad in terms of damage. I picked up some more coal because I need that for the torches because I do keep running out, and as I was just exploring the cave, these 2 skeletons started fighting each other. I think they were going for me and then one hit the other one. Anyway, suffice to say they both didn't survive. This did, however, give me my first piece of armor. Now that I'd lit the cave up a little bit better, I managed to take on some of the mobs that were in this cave just to clear it out a little bit. I did come across more iron, and that was good because that was exactly what I was looking for at the moment. I need to get myself better prepared. I need some armor, and iron is definitely the way forward to achieve that. So I just carried on collecting iron all the way to the end of day 31 and into day 32. And on day 32, this guy came up and told me, "It's day 32 by the way," and I was like, "That's cool, but give me back that cobblestone." His son wasn't too happy about that, so I had to murder him as well. I'm not normally one for murdering children, but in this case I think it was justified, plus that hat was ugly. I carried on finding more iron, killing more zombies, killing even more zombies, and then I ended up with a nice chest piece that I thought was, well, better than anything that I had at the moment. It definitely was better than the leather tunic that I was wearing, so I wore it and I kept it, and on day 33 I had enough iron to make a full set of armor that I could escape from this cave. And I was so pleased to see the sunshine that I put all of my iron into the smelters, and I just admired the view. Now I was ready. I had full iron armor, Doggo was looking at me quite lovingly to be honest, and I had a nice iron sword to go with it. And as the sun was setting on day 31, I thought, let's just take a moment and reflect and just have a look at all of the things that we've built so far. It's not a whole lot. It's not an entire empire, but it's the start of something wonderful. And I thought I'd jump up on this hill and just watch the sunset, and then someone must have slept because the sun completely disappeared and it was the next day. And then we're in day 32. Day 32 was spent chopping down wood, gathering resources, clearing away another layer of the dirt to get rid of this mound that we have, and building this terrible but temporary bridge. The bridge then connected to a pathway, and I spent most of the rest of the day working on the pathway all the way into day 33 when I made it go up the mountain. And this pathway is going to lead to the mine that we've been working on. I took the time to light it up, and then by the time that day 34 came around, which only came around because I slept, this is the first time that I slept by the way, keep them phantoms off. By the time day 34 came around, I was working again on the pathway, and I did this all the way through day 34, stopping every now and again just to admire my progress and check out my lovely armor. And by day 35 I was back in the mine. This guy was going to commit suicide, but he needed a little bit of help.
Bye, have a beautiful time.
And not long after that I came across my first gold ore, which was pretty cool. I haven't had that so far this series, so that's the first. A skeleton tried to attack me, and I took a really long time getting rid of him. First I couldn't see him, and then I don't know what happened. I had a brain fart. I forgot that I was holding crouch, and I just couldn't step off of the ledge, and he just kept shooting at me, and yeah, it was a bit weird. I really don't know what happened to me. But moving swiftly on from that, I did find my first redstone, so now we can make redstone things. I'm thinking an auto chicken cooker would be good to solve the food problem. And as I went deeper down, I found my first diamonds. It was there right next to some lava, so I lit up the other areas, blocked the lava off, and then waited for the lava just to completely dissipate before I mined the diamonds, because I didn't want to lose them in there. Now 3 diamonds richer with enough to make a pickaxe, I started to make my way out, but I got distracted by all of the ores. I managed to get some gold, managed to get some iron, came across these slimes, and I thought, well, I'm going to want sticky pistons at some point, so I went for their balls, because everybody loves slime balls. And then I came across this skeleton, and I thought, oh, it's alright, I can take you out, but he had a spider friend with him, so I ended up having to take him out as well. Then I got distracted in another part of the cave and ended up taking on another spider and 2 more skeletons, but that was fine. I managed to dispatch of all of them, light the cave up, and then be on my merry way. I got back to base in time for day 37, where I took the time to craft myself my first diamond pickaxe, and then just waved it around a little bit in a celebration, because that's what you do. You craft a diamond pickaxe for the first time and you just kind of stare at it. I was thousands of blocks away from any other players, thousands of blocks away from spawn, and I was feeling very disconnected. I had my lovely path that I was running down, but that only connected my base to my mine, so I wanted to build a nether portal and hook myself up to the nether hub, and to do that I needed to get obsidian, so I thought I'd pour some water over this lava and make myself some. Just as I was remembering how long it takes to break obsidian without any enchantments, it floated into the lava, and I thought, well, that's dumb. So I decided to be more strategic about it, and it worked, but it just took a very, very long time. By the time I'd gathered enough obsidian, it was the next day, and I ran all the way home along my lovely path that I'd created, but it seems to get longer and longer each time I run up and down it. And I managed to get home and then figure out that actually I need to go back to spawn in order to go into the nether there, so that I'm on the right Y level. I made myself a nether portal, took the coordinates down so I could get the appropriate place in the nether, put a back on it so I didn't fall into the water, fleshed out the area, and then idiot proofed it, did some fishing so I had some food for the journey, set myself on fire for good measure, cooked all of my fish up, and then started the long journey back to spawn. And this took a while. Fortunately, I came across a nice spikes biome, so I made some pretty good progress here just by sliding across the ice. This is by far the fastest way to travel. Well, alright, maybe not the absolute fastest way to travel, but definitely one of the fastest ways to travel in this game. I was so grateful for this, but all good things must come to an end, and then I was in the water again. After travelling by ice and by sea, it was time to travel by land. I said hi to this nice turtle, found myself a little village that I just ran through, but I decided to go back and grab myself a pumpkin and some beetroots. Then I was travelling by sea and my boat disappeared. I don't know where it went, I don't know what happened, it was just gone. That was weird. By the time day 40 came along, I'd found my way into one of the new snowy biomes. By mid-morning on that same day, I found a random sheep's head that someone must have put here, and I wasn't quite sure what to do with it. I didn't want to move it, so I decided I'd just light it up so that we could see it in the dark. So that was cool. Further on, I took a moment just to admire the view of the ocean that I was about to cross before deciding that I was going to be ballsy and do a leap of faith into the water. I made it, and that was fine, and I got my boat out and jumped in it. And then further on down the line, I came across another snowy biome, and I thought, well, what could go wrong? I'm just going to run across this. But then things started to go wrong because I hit this new snow type that the name escapes me, and I thought, this is it, I'm going to die. And I was freezing, but I managed to dig my way out and everything was fine and I was safe. And I thought, oh, let's not do that again. And then I did that again and I fell and I couldn't get out for ages and ages. This is sped up 4 times. I was in there and I was freezing and it was horrible and I didn't know what was going on. But eventually I managed to just get myself into a little air pocket and I could just take a breath and figure out what it was that I was going to do next. I was now so close to spawn I could see the woodland mansion in the distance and I thought, yes, I've made it. So I used my bucket to break down this bamboo because I lost that last time and I managed to get myself some nether wart. But don't worry, I replant it, I'm sustainable, it's all good. I cooked up some of Kermit's girlfriend. We kick off day 41 in the nether. I was digging out my nether tunnel, did come across some quartz that's going to come in handy later. I built my nether portal in what I thought was the correct space and then I went ahead and I lit it. Once I lit it, there was only one thing to do really, it was to go in and see where we ended up. I ended up underground, -24 on the Y level, which was not what I was hoping for. So a little bit confused and disorientated, I decided to break the portal. I took all of the obsidian down so I could use it elsewhere and started tunneling my way up to the top. It took quite a while. I ended up doing some jumpy bits here which worked out quite well and saving some time, but as day 42 struck I saw sunlight and worked my way up through this cave. I thought I was going to die, I thought I was going to drown. This drown got a cheap shot in at me and I was like, I haven't got time to fight you really, I just need to make it to the surface. I was down to 2 bubbles and then I was down to 1 bubble, but I made it and I really wasn't that far from base actually. It worked out really well. So I lit my portal up and I sorted out my inventory. I spent a little bit of time sorting out my inventory because I had just come from spawn. But after I'd sorted all of that out and after I'd set myself on fire for some strange reason, don't know why I did that, I did go ahead and clear out some space to put the bamboo in. I then cleared out some space to put my soul sand down so that I could plant my one and only nether wart. I cleared out some space here because I managed to get that pumpkin from the village and I wanted a nice area here that I could plant it in. So I used my hoe, tilled the soil, planted the pumpkin seeds, and then I walked away quite successful. I backed into the nether portal for some reason, really don't know why, but it was lit now, and I slabbed off my nether tunnel. I spent my time murdering some glow squids because I wanted their ink sacs, and then I ran out of air, and I honestly thought that I wasn't going to make it, but I did. I got back into the nether, and what do I need these glowing ink sacs for? Well, to make the signs light up, obviously, because there's nothing better than a bit of shameless self-promotion. If you haven't subscribed by now, you probably should. If you made it this far through the video, you're probably going to enjoy the next one. Now I had a safe connection between spawn and my base and it was time for some base improvements. Started off by expanding my crop farm, so that's the wheat and the sugarcane, and I did this by just building a bigger area of dirt around it, hoeing the whole lot down and then sticking some walls around the outside to keep any mobs out. I built a nice staircase coming down to it for some easy access, and then I took the moment just to admire the view because my base was developing but it was about to get a whole lot better. I decided that I needed some cows because I was going to need the leather, so I built them a little pen and then went off in search of some cows, and I ran through the forest for the longest time searching for them, holding my wheat out, and eventually I found one, and I was very happy about the fact that I'd found one, but I needed another one, so I did a little dance and then I went out and I got another one. I bred them up and there's our first baby, so that's definitely a success. And then day 43 came around, and by that point I was in a position to build a enchantment table. So I built it, but I wasn't sure where to put it, so I ended up building up another little house just off of the platform that we'd built already. I decided to put the enchantment table down in the middle and then build up the house around it, and this worked really well. I used some logs and I used some planks and I used some cobblestone and some cobblestone deep slate, and I think this made quite the difference to the building here. You can see it from a distance and I think that it's coming along quite nicely. So I decided to put some pillars onto the platform so that it looked like it wasn't just floating and it was supported supported by something. I only went so far down into the water with the actual pillars, but I'll sort this out later. And then I decided it was time to make a chicken cooker, an auto chicken cooker. So I got to work on the redstone, popped it all together, following the tutorial. This is where the chickens are going to end up going, and I was quite proud of myself. So I took a moment just to admire it, and then I built a temporary bridge up so that I could get some chickens into it, and the next step was to go on the hunt for some chickens. But I didn't find a single chicken, so I admired this floating island thing instead, trying to decide what it looked like, and then I admired myself for a little while back in my base. I've been doing this a lot recently. I'm going to stop doing this because I'm enjoying the progress that we're making, but at the same time I'm spending way too long staring at myself, and I need to get that fortune-free pickaxe so that I can mine some ores and make some progress. So I decided to put the bookshelves in that I could make right now and just make a start and see if I could enchant anything, which I did, and I managed to get fortune 1 and efficiency 1, so I thought, well, might as well give that a go. Then I did find some chickens, and I thought I'd breed them so they didn't despawn, and then I led them all the way back to base. I told them they were going to live in a massive field and they were going to be able to roam around freely, and one of them didn't believe me, quite rightly so, and decides to jump off the edge and make a run for it. But don't worry, we'll get him later, I'm sure. The other 2 chickens were a little bit more placid, a little bit more gullible, and I managed to push them into the hole, breed them up a little bit. I carried on doing this throughout the rest of the day, and I ended up with quite a few chickens because I just kept breeding them and breeding them. So now our food source problem is solved. We can get rid of this bridge here, and as I was getting rid of this bridge, I noticed another player name pop up, and it turned out to be Fading Marker, but clearly very busy. There was no time to stop and have a cup of tea, and you can just see the name disappearing off into the distance there. Off you go, have a nice swim. So I convinced this chicken to be a cage chicken, and then I decided to aesthetically change the base a little bit by putting a wall down here, and then I admired the base again from the top and thought, yeah, that looks pretty good, but the wall was a little bit too dark. I needed to strip those oaks back. So that's exactly what I did. I stripped those oaks back, and it made it look a little bit lighter, so I added in some texture, and then I went mining. And as we go into day 44, I came across even more diamonds, which was great because I was going to need this to create diamond tools. I really want to achieve that goal of getting fortune 3 on my pickaxe by the end of this episode. Now, days 45 and 46 were mostly spent just breeding up cows, getting sugarcane, breeding up some more cows, getting some more sugarcane because I really wanted to get that enchantment set up finished. I did put down a composter and I put all of my seeds into there to try and give myself some bone meal, but it was really slow. I went back to feeding the cows and getting the sugarcane all over again. It was a very repetitive process. But I did get all of the bookshelves that I needed to get to level 30 enchantments. The problem was that I needed to cycle through all of the enchantments on the enchantment table and I didn't have the levels to do it. So I went mining again, I found a ton of diamonds and I decided that I was going to silk touch them, but that didn't really work because then I wasn't getting any levels from them. So I realised that actually this was completely flawed in terms of a plan. But I did find some lapis which I needed to do the enchantment, so I piled up all of the ores that I'd just silk touched and I admired them, and here they are looking wonderful in a nice little tower. We'll get to that once we get fortune 3. Here's me cycling through the enchantments on the enchantment table. You can see how many books I had to go through before I did actually get to fortune 3, but when I did, I realised I still didn't have enough levels. So I had a little chat with Caffeinated Owl, who was amazing and let me use her villager trading hall. So I traded with some villagers and I got myself some emeralds and some XP, and actually there were some diamond tools there that I could grab as well. So I did, and I don't feel like this is cheating to use someone else's trading hall. That's the whole point of being on a multiplayer server. So thank you so much to Owl, you've been amazing. I can't thank you enough. This honestly just helped me out massively, and now we have achieved our goal of having a pickaxe with fortune 3 on it, efficiency 5 on it, and with unbreaking 3 on it. I also picked up some mending books, which is amazing. So now we've got our solid pickaxe that we can actually just get on with the game, and that I'm very happy about. There will be a link to Owl's YouTube channel down in the description. Go and show some love for us. Did you know I also have a second channel? It's called the Rainy Grinch Filming Channel, and there I do all kinds of projects, from intros for other channels to a vlog to something called the FODMAP experiment. I'm not going to tell you any more about it. There's a link down in the description. Go check it out. I really appreciate your support. And now we can wrap up on day 50 by sorting out our pickaxe, and there you can see we've got fortune 3, unbreaking, and efficiency. I ended up taking down the Tower of the Resources, which gave me some XP, and then I came over to the post office because I remember seeing an anvil in there, and I used the books that I'd acquired from Owl's place to just make sure that I had mending and unbreaking on the majority of my tools. And I named them, and of course I called the digger Diggera, and I called the pickaxe Subscribe, because, well, you got to take every opportunity to ask subscribers to subscribe, right? Like now. And then I took down the melons that I'd got from Mal and I expanded the farm so that I had some space to plant the melons, and that seemed to do pretty good for me to finish off the episode. I hope you've enjoyed this episode. I've certainly enjoyed making it. Please leave a like or a little comment down below just letting me know. I really want to gauge what the feedback is. I feel like we've done well in the first 50 days. We've got our farm set up, we've got our enchantment set up, we've got our cow farm set up, we've got an automatic chicken cooker, and perhaps not in the next episode, but perhaps the one after that, we're going to go and we're going to take that ocean monument down, and I'm actually going to turn that into a guardian farm, but also my industrial area. And my plan for my actual base is to find a nice cave, preferably a lush cave, in some future episode that we can turn into our actual house with a huge storage system in there. We've got plans, so stay tuned, subscribe if you haven't already, and I will catch you in the next one. Thanks so much for watching. See ya.